right, let's just get into this. So if you clicked on this video, you probably have an interview with Vector Marketing lined up. And you wanted to get more information about the company. You wanted to know if they actually were a scam or not. And you also probably wanted to know a little bit more about what the interview process would look like. So I'm here to hopefully answer all the questions that you have and just provide updated information about Vector Marketing. Work with Vector looks very different this year than it has in past years. So even though they've had these online remote programs set up, they've now taken all of their offices completely remote. So that kind of changes everything, and that's why I was compelled to make this video, because I actually made a video on my channel last year all about Vector Marketing, and I wanted to give an updated version just because that information is no longer up to date. Now everything is fully remote, and I know a lot of you guys have been commenting on that old video asking questions, so I wanted to put this up there and give you all of the new info. Also, later on in this video, I will actually be interviewing Mike Monroe, who is Vector Marketing's Digital Strategy Manager. And he's going to walk us through what the interview process looks like. And I mean, it's no secret that a lot of people don't like Vector. They call it a scam. And there's been a lot of accusations and different opinions on Vector, so I actually want to go right to him and ask him his opinions on these accusations and see if he wants to respond in any way to those. So don't forget to stick around to the end of the video to see that, but if you are impatient, I will have timestamps in the description below so you can jump around to get your different questions answered there. And some of you watching this may be wondering who I am. My name is Mimi, and I am actually a former sales representative with Vector Marketing. I worked there, I sold Cutco for over 3 years, and I was there in multiple different capacities. So although I did enjoy my time there with Vector, I'm not here to convince anyone of anything. Honestly, I do not care if, you decide to sell Cutco or not. It's totally up to you. I'm just here to provide the factual information so that you can make an informed decision for yourself. I mean, I know that selling Cutco and sales in general isn't for everyone. So hopefully I can just answer the questions that you have and dispel some of the outdated information that's out there and some of the rumors that are out there as well. So before I get into the interview with Mike, I want to answer 3 main questions that you probably have about Vector Marketing. So number 1, is Vector Marketing a scam? No, they're not. Trust me, I actually worked there for several years. Unlike some other people, online who leave reviews or have done YouTube videos about it, who have only worked there for a few weeks. I mean, it's totally up to you as to who you want to believe, but Vector has been around since 1981, and the product that they sell is over 65 years old. It's Cutco Cutlery, which has a forever guarantee and has really good reviews. They're good knives. They're really high quality kitchen cutlery. They also, for the last 15 years, have sold at least $100 million annually. Question number 2, is Vector Marketing a multi-level marketing company? No, they're not. That's actually probably one of the biggest rumors that's out there about Vector, but they aren't an MLM. They're actually single level. You don't have to pay anything to work there. And the only way that sales representatives make an income is through selling Cutco. So they are not required to have a downline or anything like that. Even if they refer a friend to work with them, they don't get paid off of their friend's sales. The only way they get money is from selling Cutco personally. Question number 3 is, how does the sales representative position work? So sales representatives conduct presentations where they demonstrate the Cutco product, and those are fully remote, and the sales reps are guaranteed to make a base pay whether they make a sale or not. So there is the base pay, but then there is also like a bonus incentive pay, and that's for people who do exceptional work and kind of go above and beyond. But fact of the matter is that sales reps get paid whether they make a sale or not, and they're paid per presentation. So now that you know a little bit more about the company, let's dive into the interview. Okay, and we are recording. So hello, first of all, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to speak with me.
Oh, you're welcome. Happy to make time for you, Mimi.
All right, so just getting into it, what is your role with Vector and why are you qualified to be the one talking about the Vector interview?
Sure. So my name is Mike Monroe, and I am the digital strategy manager. I've been with the company for 20 years in some capacity. I started entry level, as many of our representatives do. I was in management for about 10 years, and then the last handful of years, I've been in a role where I've worked closely in a team that work on a lot of digital projects, including what I'm going to call the virtualization of our business, which isn't a new thing for us. We've been doing this for 3 to 4 years now. It just kind of came to a culmination right here. And Mimi, I should warn you, and anybody that watches this video, I should warn, it's possible that my 4-year-old daughter comes running in at any point in time. Mom's not home, so
No worries. I would actually love that. So don't even worry about it.
All right. Cool.
All right. So the first thing that I wanted to ask you is, what is the Vector interview process like?
So what the process used to be is somebody would speak to a receptionist or a staff member, and then we'd schedule them at an office location. You know, we had all different interview times because we were trying to accommodate different schedules. And you know, they get directions, you know, here's how to get in the building and so forth. And how we've changed that interview process, of course, is to eliminate the entire component of go to this location at this time. And naturally, we find it's a lot more convenient. We find a lot of people, especially if they're looking for work in a rush, may even interview on the same exact day. We don't always have that available for people, but we do. When we do, it's oftentimes advantageous because then somebody can come and learn all about us. We can learn about them, and we try to give same day decisions for people. So that way, if we're not for them or they don't work out, maybe they're not who we're looking for, they don't fall back into the 2-week process of, oh, we'll call you back. Now the interview itself, everybody comes in kind of at different points. So if I have a friend that recommended me to the position, that friend might have told me everything about selling Cutco and what that's like. Or it might have been somebody that recommended me that I haven't talked to in like 5, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. So I might know nothing. And so the tack that most of our managers take is they shoot for too much information versus not enough. And typically what happens in the virtual process is the manager will go through kind of, here's how it's going to work. Here's what we're going to talk about today. We've started utilizing this 7-minute video, which we like because then we know for sure that everybody has all the information and all the same information. Then after that, the manager will go through and talk about specifically their team, some of their policies, and really essentially what it's like to work with them. Because when someone's doing due diligence in a job, it's not just about, okay, can I do the position? I mean, physically, mentally, emotionally, I can. It is, am I a culture fit?
Awesome. Thank you so much. That's very informative. Now to kind of get into some harder hitting questions, I just wanted to get your opinion on some of these things, but something that I did want to ask you is, there's a lot of different opinions online about Vector marketing. Some people say that Vector is a shady company. Some call it a scam altogether. I just wanted to get your input. What's your take on that?
Well, I think first and foremost, I mean, everybody is 100% free and entitled to really have their own opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And direct sales in general, which is something we've been doing for almost 40 years here, has never been, I don't think any direct sales company has ever enjoyed this kind of this altruistic brand image from a standpoint of like, wow, they are, I mean, it's not a nonprofit. We're a for-profit company. And with that, comes a deference of opinion. And I respect that. And I also, from a personal standpoint, I love Vector. I worked here for many, many, many years. I wish that everybody had a very favorable opinion of our company. I truly do. I really do. Certainly the people that work with us have a more informed, favorable opinion than people that don't. But regardless of what the opinion is that someone might have of us, and regardless of how critical or tough on us they might be, internally, and I can say this now, being on the kind of the inside for the last 10 years, we are far tougher on ourselves from a standpoint of how do we create programs that match today's market? How can we help the average individual succeed? Meaning we don't accept everybody for the position, but if we give somebody a shot, can we help this person, we call it, become the best version of themselves in sales? Because a lot of people will work with us and try us out, and the reality is sales isn't for them. And that's okay. We know that going in, we offer them positions of that going in, but can we create programs that help them be successful? And to the testimony of the leadership, the executive team who I get to work with, not an executive myself, but hopefully someday, right? But I will say that is something that has always impressed me about our presidents and about our corporate team of they really, everyone says they care about people. I mean, they truly care about people.
Great, thank you. So another more tough question, or more hard-hitting question: how would you respond to the accusation that Vector tries to take advantage of broke college students?
You're killing me. You're killing me with these questions, Mimi. I would say this. Let me put on, I'll put on two hats. First, I'll put on my company hat. So going back to the direct sales industry, where I'm often going to say is commonly referred to as pyramid schemes. And if you're a direct sales company, you get lumped into this pyramid scheme kind of world, which let me respond from a company standpoint that in our model of how we conduct business, number one, we do not have multiple tiers of, I get paid off this person, who gets paid off this person, who gets paid off this person. Meaning the number one goal and the number way our representatives make money and earn income with us is by selling Cutco. That's one thing. The other thing is we know that a lot of our representatives aren't going to sell Cutco. And so corporately, we've had for many, 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 many years now, what's called a base per appointment rate, where they do a presentation, whether it's with a stranger or a friend or family member, whoever, and if they don't make a sale, they have some level of stability in their income. We word it base appointment because something we've seen with these virtual presentations is oftentimes presentations don't last an hour. Of course, if I'm sitting down with my neighbor, somebody I've known since middle school or someone I love, it might be an hour and a half. But it's so there's a variance there. And I think that having that base pay is pretty rare for this type of industry where, everything's predicated on selling. And then my last point corporately would be, this is not a situation where people are paying money to work with us. Meaning 15 years ago when I started, we used to give out bags of knives to people, right? And all the presentations used to be in-home. Whereas most of the representatives that work with us today may not even be aware that we actually used to do in-home presentations. Or if they do in-home presentations, they might do it on a very selective basis. But back when I started, we used to put down a deposit. I don't remember what it was, but the number 140 sticks in my head, like $140. And so then I have the knife kit, and let's say I have the knife kit with like $400 or $500 worth of stuff. If I disappear, I now own the knives. They keep my deposit, and if I returned it, even though they're used, I'd get the deposit back. So that was a thing for very, very, very many years. And it's something that we stopped doing about a decade ago. And I still see people online, accuse or point, and that's okay. Maybe it's because that was their memory of what happened, when they interviewed a decade ago or something. But the business changes quickly, and we've made changes, and we listen. It's not like there's this malicious, like, okay, how can we, there's nobody sitting in a boardroom rubbing their hands together, making vampire sounds or something or whatever. That's my corporate answer to that question. But failing that for a minute, I think my personal answer is, this has been the position and the experience for me, as I imagine for you, because I know you're no longer in the field, correct? You're not selling, you're not doing presentations. So, but that experience can really mean something to somebody. Even if someone only does it for 3 weeks or 3 months. I had a period where I left Vector and I interviewed with other companies, And what I find is I didn't appreciate the experience. It was almost like planting a seed until many, many years later where the seed grew and it became something. And so I tell everybody, check it out. If it's for you, great. If it's not for you, great. If you try it and it doesn't go well, we are big on no negative endings. In fact, the CEO of our holding corporation actually sends a letter to every representative when they become inactive, because we don't like negative endings. And so if that is, I don't know, if my experience is I was taken advantage of, then it's news to me.
So now to move back onto the more positive side of things, if somebody currently has an interview scheduled for vector marketing, what are some pieces of advice that you could give them to really stand out during their interview?
Okay. First is, I would say, arrive curious. And when I say arrive curious, it is, again, everybody's coming from different backgrounds of what they know about vector, how they heard about it. Regardless of somebody, we have a colleague of mine whose daughter sold Cutco with us, started last summer, did a fantastic job. She knew everything about the position before she even showed up for interview. But I would still tell her, Katie, show up curious, ask the manager questions. They don't have to be, these big, intricate, where do you see the company in 3 to 5 years, kind of cliche questions that everybody tells you to ask, but just get very clear on what we do. We look for people that present themselves well. So if someone shows up on their video interview, I mean, we've had people show up and they're lying horizontal on the couch, right? That's not a super enthusiastic first impression. I wouldn't expect that interview to go very well. I'm not saying somebody has to dress up. We're pretty casual when we do presentations. I don't wear a coat and tie, to work in my basement, right? But that doesn't mean they can't present themselves well in terms of answering questions. We start using this chat feature. So a manager might ask a question and then they respond by chat, gives them a moment to think about it, gives them a moment to talk about and kind of sell themselves, which is an important skill. Be thoughtful there. And I think this is, regardless of you're interviewing for Vector or Cutco, I would tell somebody this. The goal of an interview is to establish a rapport with the person interviewing you, which comes from vulnerability a little bit on both sides, and also comes from, just being open and honest and truthful and making good eye contact. Most of the representatives, by the way, certainly me at 19 years old when I started, I never had any interview experience. So we're not, the goal isn't to hammer people if they don't come across perfectly. It's a no experience necessary position. The goal is constructive feedback, and the goal is how do we all become the best version of ourselves? And a vector interview can be a stepping stone for that.
Great. Thanks for the advice too. That's really good to know. And our final question is, if somebody is interested in learning more about the position or about the company, or maybe they want to, apply to work with vector marketing, where should we send them?
Well, if somebody's watching this video up to this point, they're probably a pretty thorough due diligencer, which is great. Wasn't me at 19 years old. I'm just like, hey, someone's going to give me money. All right. As long as I'm not doing anything illegal, just tell me what I got to do. So here's where I'd recommend someone go if they want to learn more. For starters, of course, vectormarketing.com. That kind of lays out all the, ba-boom, 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 ba-boom. Here's what we do. The site that I spend the most time in with my job is called thevectorimpact.com, which is kind of our personal growth hub. If somebody wants to get a hold of me, I write for a lot of websites, and so I'm always available. You can give them, I don't know where you're going to post this, but you can give them my email address. It's mmonroe@cutco.com. You can always come to me. Again, my name is Mike. I don't always get back to people on time, by the way, but I do like to hear. I like to make sure people have facts. And of course, if you want a fast response or parents have questions, our parent website, vectorparents.com, for moms and dads that have questions. Sorry, Mimi, what was the other thing you asked me for? Where can people apply?
Yeah.
Okay. Somebody wants to check us out, then go to workforstudents.com if they're a student. If they want to apply like a part-time side gig, evenings and weekends, they're not a student. You do not have to be a student to work with us, but they can go to earnparttime.com. So workforstudents.com, earnparttime.com. That'll be a place to fill out some information where you can engage one of our staff members.
Thank you so much for your time and for all of the information.
You're welcome, Mimi. Take care.
You too.
All right, so there you have it. I really hope that this video was able to answer a lot of your questions. And if you have any other questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below and I'll do my best to respond. If you have any other video suggestions, if you want me to make a whole nother video on a topic about vector marketing, please let me know. I'd be happy to do that for you guys too. Thank you so much for watching and I hope you have a great day. Bye.